Rain slid down the glass walls of the Seocho District Courthouse like quiet tears. Han Soo-yeon stood beneath a gray umbrella, her fingers numb around the handle. The ink on the divorce papers was barely dry, yet it felt as though an entire lifetime had collapsed into the thin stack of documents in her handbag. 3 years of marriage. Finished. She exhaled slowly, watching her breath fog in the cold air. People hurried past her. Lawyers in neat suits, couples arguing in hushed tones, families clinging together, while she remained frozen at the steps, unsure where to go now that the life she'd planned had officially ended. Her phone vibrated. "Mom, did it go okay?" Soo-yeon swallowed. "Soo-yeon, it's done." She didn't wait for the reply. She hailed a taxi and gave the driver her old address. The small rooftop studio she'd lived in before marriage, before she'd believed love alone could build a future. As the car pulled away, she rested her forehead against the window. 33. Divorced. Starting over. The words felt heavy. The rooftop apartment smelled faintly of dust and detergent. Soo-yeon stood in the doorway with her suitcase, staring at the narrow space. One bed, one desk, a kitchenette squeezed into a corner. It was humble, but it was hers. She placed her suitcase down and sank onto the mattress. Silence wrapped around her. For years, she had arranged her days around someone else. His work dinners, his complaints about her long hours at the hospital, his growing emotional distance that had eventually turned into resentment. Park Min-jae. Once, he had waited outside the emergency room at 3 a.m. just to walk her home. By the end, he couldn't even look at her without sighing. Soo-yeon shook her head. "Stop." She unpacked slowly, hanging her white coats in the closet, stacking medical textbooks on the shelf. Tomorrow she would return to her job at Hanseong Medical Center. This time not as someone's wife, but simply as Dr. Han Soo-yeon. And that, she told herself, had to be enough. The hospital lobby buzzed with early morning energy. Interns hurried by clutching charts. Nurses gathered near the coffee machine. Patients lined up at reception. Soo-yeon adjusted her ID badge and stepped into the elevator just as the doors began to close. A hand shot through. "Wait." The doors slid open again. A tall man in a dark coat stepped inside, slightly out of breath. His hair was neatly styled, his expression polite but distant. "Thank you," he said. She nodded. The elevator started moving. Silence. Then the man glanced at her badge. "Emergency medicine?" he asked. "Yes." "Rough department." She gave a faint smile. "You get used to it." He studied her for a second, then extended his hand. "Seo Junhyuk, cardiothoracic surgery." She shook it. "Han Soo-yeon." "Nice to meet you." The elevator chimed. Her floor. "Have a good shift, Dr. Han." "You too." As she walked out, she felt his gaze linger. She didn't look back. 2 weeks passed. Soo-yeon settled into a new rhythm. Late-night shifts, takeout dinners, quiet mornings watching Seoul wake up from her rooftop window. And somehow Seo Junhyuk kept appearing. In the cafeteria, at the nurse's station. Once, outside the vending machines at 2 a.m. "You again," he said, handing her a can of coffee before she could insert her coins. She blinked. "Did you just buy you caffeine?" "Yes." "You looked like you were about to collapse." She hesitated, then accepted it. "Thanks." They started talking about difficult patients, about medical school horror stories, about how neither of them slept enough. He didn't flirt. He didn't pry. He just listened. It was strangely comforting. One afternoon, as Soo-yeon walked past the supply room, she overheard 2 nurses whispering, "Isn't Dr. Han divorced?" "I heard so. Last month." "And Dr. Seo keeps talking to her." Soo-yeon stiffened but kept walking. She'd promised herself she wouldn't care. Still, the words lingered. The rain started suddenly that evening. Soo-yeon stood under the hospital awning, scrolling through her phone, realizing she'd forgotten her umbrella. "DL. Han." She turned. Junhyuk held one. "Want to share?" She hesitated, then nodded. They walked side by side in silence, rain tapping against the fabric above them. "Long day?" he asked. "Patient didn't make it." she replied quietly. He slowed.
I'm sorry.
She shrugged. It happens. Doesn't make it easier. They stopped at the crosswalk. The red light glowed. Without thinking, she said, I got divorced last month. He didn't react dramatically, just nodded. I figured something big had changed, he said gently. You have that starting over look. She huffed a weak laugh. Is it that obvious? To someone who's had it before? Yes. She looked at him. You engaged once. Didn't work out. The light turned green. They didn't move right away. I'm not looking for anything, she said quickly. I didn't think you were. Their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them. They crossed the street. Soo-yeon ran into Min-jae at a grocery store. Of course it would happen in the frozen food aisle. He looked thinner, tired. Soo-yeon, he said, surprised. Min-jae. An awkward pause. How have you been? Fine. He nodded. You look good. She wasn't sure how to respond. I heard you moved back near your old place. Yeah. Another silence. I made mistakes, he said suddenly. Her grip tightened on her shopping basket. We both did. I didn't appreciate you. She met his eyes. I'm not that woman anymore. He seemed to realize it too. They parted politely, but her chest felt tight the whole way home. The night the power flickered, chaos followed. A storm knocked out part of the city grid. Backup generators kicked in, but not fast enough. Soo-yeon sprinted through the emergency ward, shouting orders. Patient went into cardiac arrest. Clear, she shocked. Nothing. Again. Clear. Still nothing. Charge to 200.
Dear. Han.
Jun-hyuk appeared at her side, already pulling on gloves. Move. Together they worked, hands moving in perfect synchronization, voices sharp and steady. Minutes stretched like hours. Finally, a blip, a rhythm. He's back, a nurse whispered. Soo-yeon sagged in relief. Jun-hyuk met her eyes. You did good. So did you. Their hands brushed. Neither pulled away. After that night, everything felt closer. Too close. They shared meals, walked home together, texted about nothing. Soo-yeon told herself it was harmless, until she caught herself smiling at her phone, until she cared what he thought, until he showed up at her rooftop apartment with soup when she caught the flu. You didn't have to. I did. He placed the bag down. You take care of everyone else, he said. Let someone do it for you. Her throat tightened. They stood on the rooftop, soul glowing beneath them. Cold wind whipped around their coats. I used to think love was about endurance, Soo-yeon said suddenly. Staying no matter how unhappy you were. Jun-hyuk looked at her. And now I think it's supposed to feel safe. He swallowed. I feel that with you. Her breath caught. Before either of them could say more, her phone rang. Min-jae. She froze. Jun-hyuk noticed. She declined the call. I should go, she said, panicked. He didn't stop her, but disappointment flickered in his eyes. After that, she pulled away, kept conversations professional, avoided late-night walks. Jun-hyuk noticed. Did I do something? He asked one day.
No.
It was a lie. She just wasn't ready. Not after everything. He nodded, but his smile didn't reach his eyes anymore. Soo-yeon met Min-jae again, this time at a cafe. I don't want to get back together, he said. I just wanted to apologize properly. She studied him, and realized the ache was gone. I forgive you, she said, but I'm done living in the past. He smiled sadly. I figured. Walking out, she felt lighter, free. She found Jun-hyuk on the hospital rooftop at dawn. You were avoiding me, he said. Yes. Why? She took a breath. Because I like you, and that scared me. His eyes widened. I wasn't ready to fall for someone again. He stepped closer. I wasn't trying to replace your past, he said softly. I just wanted to be here now. Tears welled. I want that too. Silence. Then he smiled. Slow. Warm. Then let's go slow, he said. Together. She laughed through her tears. Deal. They didn't rush. They dated quietly. Street food nights, walks along the Han River, movie marathons in her tiny apartment. When rumors spread, they ignored them. When memories resurfaced, they talked. One evening, months later, Soo-yeon realized something startling. She wasn't afraid anymore. She was happy. A year after her divorce, Soo-yeon stood on that same courthouse street, this time waiting. Jun-hyuk jogged toward her. "You said to meet you somewhere dramatic," he said, breathless. She smiled. "This is where my life restarted." He looked around. And I wanted to mark it with something better." She took his hand. "No grand gestures," she added. "Just thank you for finding me when I thought I was done." He squeezed her fingers. "I think," he said, "you were just getting started." She leaned into him as the rain began to fall again. Soft this time, gentle. Not an ending, a beginning. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos.